Hello, my name is Ben Parker, and I'm the Technology Director at the Oklahoma Public School Resource Center. And today I'm going to show you how to build a self-grading test using Google Forms and Flubaroo. To get started, you just need to sign into your Google account. So if you open your browser and go to google.com, and in the top right-hand corner, you get the sign in button right here. I'm going to click that and sign into my account real quick. You can see I've signed in here before, so just going to go ahead and log in. Great, and now I'm logged into Google, and in order to get started, I need to go to Google Drive. So if I click up right here in the top right hand corner, you see these 9 little boxes. That's Google's navigation menu, and if I click there and click on Drive, it's going to take me to my Google Drive. And so once it loads here, it's going to load all my files. And if you haven't used Google Drive, highly recommend using it. Super powerful tool. I'll be making some videos on how to use that very soon. But for now, I just want to go up here to the top left-hand corner to this orange button that says New here and click on it. And go to More in Google Forms. Alright, and so now I have a Google form open, and I just want to walk you through how this works and some of these settings real quickly. And so you can see, first of all, at the top I have a no name here, so I'm going to rename this. If I just click on Untitled Form there, it brings up a pop-up box. I'm going to rename this to Ben's New Quiz. Hit OK. You see it changed the name of it down here too, and then I'm going to give it a description, a sample quiz, so we can learn Flubaroo. Okay, so I have a name and a description. Up at the top, you'll see some settings. The first one is require Oklahoma Public School Resource Center login to view this form. If you're a Google Apps school, Google Apps for Education school, it's going to say require whatever the name of your public school is, login to view this form. I typically turn this off. I'm going to not require a sign-in. The reason being, if I am working with kids who maybe don't have logins, A, or B, if I'm in a lab and I don't want to waste time making the kids log into their accounts. It's hard enough a lot of times for kids to log into the computer. They log in the computer, then they got to log into an account. And so I typically leave that unchecked. You can check it if you want. There are other options that are really dependent upon these other things. I can automatically collect somebody's username from my organization. Once again, they'd have to be logged in for me to grab that information. I can show a progress bar at the bottom of my form pages. And so if I was doing a more complicated form, which we're not today, but I can actually create a form and I can say, based on how you answer this question, I'm going to send you a direction, kind of a choose your own adventure type thing. And so I can show the progress of the form if I want to. I'm not going to click that because mine's just going to be on one page. I can only allow one person per response, or one response per person. Once again, that requires the login. I don't have that checked, so I'm not going to check this. But here's the big one that you will really love as a teacher, and that's shuffle question order. If I click on that, then it's going to randomize the questions for my students. And so as I give them this quiz, it's going to give it to them in random order. That way, if we're in a computer lab or we're sitting next to each other on devices in a classroom, Timmy can't look off Susie. They don't have the questions in the same order. They're going to have to, focus on their own page, which is nice. And so those are my settings up top. Now I have you can see my quiz here, and it has my first question up front. So now I want to talk about the different types of questions and form settings we have. The first thing and that it's defaulted to is multiple choice. And so honestly, just to explain this, Flubaroo works best with multiple choice questions if your if the self-grading test will not work if you're trying to do paragraph responses or long form responses where they're typing out text, because they're not going to be able to guess word for word your response, and that's how it's going to grade it. Now you can have those things in a test, and with Flubaroo you can skip a question, so you can have a bunch of multiple choice and then some long form response too, and you can say don't grade these longer answers, or don't grade this question, and then you can hand grade that if you so choose. So multiple choice, also short text answers can be good here. What's the capital of Oklahoma, for instance, or who was our 16th president? They have to spell that name correctly and use capitalization. Now I'm just going to show you some of the multiple choice questions here. How would I build this? And so you can see it gives me a question title. And so here I could just put in my question. I could say, what color is the sky? Go ahead and type that in. And in my help text, I can give them help if I want, look up. And I can choose my question type here again. I can switch between. I'm going to stick with multiple choice. And then option 1, I'm going to say, blue. Option 2 is red. Option 3 is green, and option 4 is orange. You can have as many options as you want, or you could slim this down to just give them 2 options. You can also use this as true or false if you wanted. One of the things that I like to check at the bottom is make it a required question. You can see there I can require them to answer this, so that way they don't just open up my quiz, answer the 2 questions they do know, and then submit it. I want them to read everything and look over everything and at least try, right? So I'm done with that question. I'll hit done. You'll see it does look like a normal form question. When I'm ready to add another question here, I can right down here, I can go add an item. Once again, I can click and I can go a short text answer, or I can do multiple choice again. Or if I'm doing a bunch of multiple choice, you notice when I hover over my question, I can edit this question again. I could delete this question, but I can also duplicate it. So I'm going to duplicate it. You see it keeps my question up here and then gives me another question that's just exact copy. So I'm going to say what color is the grass. I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to say change my script, my help text, and you don't have to enter help text. That's just a choice you have. I'm going to leave the same answers because that works here. And then I'm going to hit done, and then I could duplicate this out and keep building, which I'm going to do here in a second. But the other thing I can do is I can add something. So I could add an image if I wanted, or I could add a video. So if I had a Khan Academy video that was a math lesson, I could insert a video and then have them watch the video and answer the questions based on the video. Maybe it's a book trailer or a book video, a video about a story we've read. I could show them that. I can put in charts. If I'm a social studies teacher, geography, history, we've got maps, that sort of thing, and you want to put in images and have them answer questions based off the images, you can scan those and put those into, so I can insert an image, which is really terrific. Now, some teachers who aren't using Flubaroo to self-grade will even put in videos or pictures and have kids write essays, essentially just put one question with a paragraph response. So I can do text or paragraph text, which is a longer response. They can put the paragraph text there and have the kids respond in paragraph. Of course, that's not going to self-grade, but it's always an option. And so the other thing I can do with my questions now that I have them built is I can click and drag them around. So you see I can just reorder them if I want just by clicking and dragging, which is really nice. Since I am not automatically gathering information from my students requiring the login, because I'm not requiring the login, one of the things that I'm definitely going to want to put here is I'm going to want to add an item that's a text item, and I'm going to want to name the question name, and then I'm going to require it. And then I want to add another item, and if your students have email, I want to put email in, and I want to require the question. So now I can get my student's name and email real quick, and it's going to help me identify my students. I'm going to drag those to the top, but of course, since I am randomizing the test, those are probably just going to end up wherever they end up. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and build out the rest of my test. I'm going to move this a lot quicker because I'm sure you don't want to see all the details. I took a sample quiz that I found online. and then I'm entering in all of the questions here. And you can see now that I've put everything together, and that I'm going to go ahead and show you this completed form right now. And here it is. Here's my quiz. And so you can see still Ben's new quiz up at the top, and it's a sample quiz, so we can learn Flubaroo. That's still there, and so we have that. Now as I scroll down, you see all my questions. This is a history test. I don't even really know how accurate these questions are because, like I said, I just pulled this off of the internet. Now, if I wanted to see what my form looked like, up here at the top, I can click the View Live Form button. So I'm going to click on that, and it opens a new window. And so this is what my quiz looks like. And because it's randomized, you see my name and email are not at the top. But these are all my questions. And this is a form just like a lot of forms you filled out online, I'm sure yourself, whether it be in a survey or whether you've been ordering something online on Amazon. You've seen forms, and so I'm sure you've seen forms online. So this is what my quiz looks like. And you see I have my name there. Now, let's say I don't want to shuffle the question order. I can take that off. You can see all my changes save as they're being made. And then I can actually change my theme. So right here I have the Change Theme button. I'm just going to click on that. You can see it gives me a sidebar over here, and I can go through and pick different themes that might work. You see that one's food related. Hey, here's some books. Since I'm doing history, maybe I'm just going to keep this look. So I'm going to go back to the edit mode. So now if I click on View Live Form again, you can see now it's got my new theme. And you see my name and email are up top. And here we go. Here's all my questions. And then when they're done, they can hit submit. Now, let's talk about the submit button. If I go down to the bottom of my form, I can actually, it says confirmation page. What do you want to tell them? Your response has been recorded. You could even type in something like, you can even type in instructions for your kids. So, once you finish the test, please pull out your textbooks and read chapter 5. I can give them instructions on what I want them to do. That way you don't have kids finishing a test and instantly causing noise or asking questions or causing a disruption for the kids who are still testing. And then there are a couple other options down here. One of them is to publish and show a public link to the form results. We don't want to do that. And then the other is allow responders to edit responses after submitting. You probably don't want to do that either. You don't want them to be able to edit their test after they've taken it, unless it's kind of an open book deal, and or if it's a review and it's not quite as stringent. And so now that I have my form, it's simply just getting it to my students. And so you can do this a few ways. If you use Google Classroom, you could post this link on your Google Classroom, or if you use Moodle or Edmodo. You can also use Google URL shortener or Bitly or TinyURL to create a smaller clipped version of this long form, because when we see view the live form here, it gives me this huge long text. I can do all that. But if up at the top of the right hand corner, where this typically is the share button for Google Docs, if I click it, you can see that it gives me the long URL. And one of the really cool things that built into Google is I can click this and get a short URL. So it automatically shortens it for me, so I could copy this and paste it and put it in a PowerPoint and present it to my kids, or I could write this on the board. Still a longer URL, but it's a lot shorter than it was before. Or I can even send the form via email, so I could, if I have a group set up for my students, or if I have student emails, I can put those there. I can even embed this form, so I could hit the embed button and get this code. If you had a blog or a teacher website, you could even post it there where kids could just go to your site that they always see and take the test. And so, but one of the things that you're going to want to do is that you're going to want to take the test yourself. So it doesn't matter if you take this before, after, during, while the kids are taking it, but you will need to take the test. So if I view the live form, I need to go through and answer all the questions, and I need to answer them correctly, obviously, because my answers are going to be the key. And I know some of you have probably been asking, hey, how does it know what the right answer is going to be on these questions, well, we're about to tell it. Okay, so now I've gone through, I sped that up so you didn't have to sit and watch everything, but now I've gone through and answered all of my questions. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. You can see I get the same message that they would. Once you've finished the test, please pull out your textbooks and read Chapter 5. I'm going to close that out. Now when I come back to my form here, and you can see it's the same, I can view my responses. And so I'm going to click the View Responses button. Test answers get put into a spreadsheet. That's where they go by default in Google Apps. And you can see I got a timestamp here of when it was taken. And then I actually created those two questions at first to sample what color is the sky, what color is the grass. It keeps those in there, it remembers. But obviously no one's going to be able to answer those because I removed them. But and then now I've got my name, my email, and you can see all of my answers right here listed out to all these questions. So now I just need to get my kids to take the test. So now that your students have taken the test, I had students take my test, fake students, but we took the test. And so now if I click on View Responses, I click there now, you can actually see all of my students who took the test. So you see all their answers. You can actually see me still up at the top. There's mine. That's going to be the key. And then everybody else who took my test. And in order to grade this, I'm going to have to get Flubaroo as an add-on. So if you go to Add-ons and Get Add-ons, you see Flubaroo pops up for me. You need to be in Sheets in order to get this. And so if it doesn't show up, you could always just, in the search box, type in Flubaroo. You can see mine says Manage because I already have it installed. If you didn't, it would be a blue button with a little plus symbol, and then it would say Free. So you can add it to your apps. I'm going to go ahead and close this out since I already have it. Once you have it, if you go to Add-ons, Flubaroo, click on Enable Flubaroo in this sheet. It's going to tell me it's working. Flubaroo has been enabled for this sheet. You may now access it from the menu. Terrific. So I'm going to go up to Add-ons, Flubaroo, and then select Grade Assignment. Now it pops open a box. And this is my grading step. So you can see my two questions that nobody answered are still in there. I can just go ahead and say, let's skip those. It'd be the same thing if I had done like a long form question or a paragraph essay, a text question where I didn't want to grade the question. I'm just going to skip grading on those. You can see it automatically found name and email, and it knows that those identify the student. So I'm going to leave those that way. Then I can go through and say what each question is worth from a point value. So I'm going to make them all worth 10 points. I have 10 questions. I can go through here and set my values. And you can set this however you want. And once I have done all this, I can say continue. Now it's going to ask me which submission should be used as the answer key. Well, my submission is the one that should be used, so I'm going to select it and then press continue. Now Flubaroo is grading your assignment. And the grading is complete. So I'm going to close this out. And you can see down here I've got two sheets now. First is the first sheet I had, which was my student submissions. And then I have another sheet where this was graded. You can see up at the top it gives me a summary. There were 100 points possible. Average grade was an 85. It counted 12 submissions, and there was one low-scoring question. So I can actually come here and see on the left side, see my kids, their names and their email addresses, how many times they submitted, which is one. I didn't allow them multiple submissions, and then their questions. So you can see these two they skipped. So as I go, it shows me the points that they got on each question. So you can see here the questions up top and how many points they got. If they have 10 points, they obviously got it right. If they have 0 points, they missed that. You can see over here, this one is highlighted in orange. I can see here only 2 of my kids got this right. And so this was a low scoring question, and it's highlighted it for me. So as a teacher, I can go, hey, maybe we didn't understand that subject matter, or maybe we didn't understand that standard or that process very well. This is something I might need to cover. When I see my whole class is struggling with a concept, it makes it easier for me. But you can see the percentage on the bottom of each question of whether they got it right. So now I can do a couple of things. If I go up to add-ons and Flubaroo, I could regrade the assignment if I had to make some adjustments. I can email grades to students, so I'm going to click on that. It tells me it's working. Brings up a pop-up box. What's the email address? Obviously, it's email. I can include a list of questions and scores, and then I could include the answer key if I wanted to. I'm just going to send out a great job today, students, and then continue. You can see 12 grades were successfully emailed. Now it shows me that I've emailed their grade. And then that's it. I have a self-grading test. I could duplicate that test or that form in my drive and give it to all my classes. And it's something now moving forward I can have, and I don't have to rebuild it. And it can be a part of my digital curriculum. So that's how you build a self-grading test. If you'd like to contact me, you can always send me an email at ben.parker@opsrc.net. Thanks for watching, guys and gals.